Hello dear friends and welcome back to a new social video, and today we're going to be embracing the sweet world of action figures. Now action figures were normally designed for kids, children who loves to be a part of the culture of the freaking, for example, cartoon or video game series. So they buy the merchandise of those series by buying their figures or, for example, shirts, whatever you want to call. For example, action figures is actually a big part of those series. For example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, says merchandise was so popular that it still keep going strong even today. Heck, I even have a Leonardo figure right in my wardrobe. That's just how big of an impact it did to children and to actually the entire fan base of that specific series. Whether it's a video game series or a cartoon series, you say it. I think they even have Game of Thrones figures, or maybe I just was influenced by that very viral going animation that was made by someone just trolling the Game of Thrones series by having, for example, that action figure where you can stab the pregnant woman. Yeah, I've never watched that series, so I don't know exactly the context of it, but pretty much that was just a parody, let's just say that. But anyways, so for example, action figures, they're not just meant for children, for mostly there are. But for example, when I see an adult, and I have to be honest, I actually think it's weird for an adult to play with action figures, but it's not something that would make me think less of him, or even if it did, I would try my best not to think any less of him, because it's not like he's committing a crime. It's not like he is like, for example, cheating on his girlfriend or being a butthole for no reason. No, the only thing he does is just have one of these in his hands, and for example, if I had a friend and I would go to his house, and the first thing I see is him having freaking two action figures like these two, a Fortnite Cuddle. I'm calling this Cuddle. I don't know if it has an actual name, or a Red Power Ranger, just freaking slamming them into each other. If I saw that, maybe my first impression would be, well, all right then. This is gonna be a long day. But then again, my brain activates the second mode, the logic mode. They're thinking, wait, why do you think less of him? He's just an adult having two figures in his hands. And then it starts to make more sense to me. And so I put the pieces together, and all together I come to the conclusion that there's actually nothing wrong with it. But there's just something about it that just makes me having to do this every time. So definitely, it's actually not that normal of a thing and common of a thing for adults to play with action figures. For example, I was never able to let go of playing action figures. For example, ever since I was, let's say, 7 years old, I had a lot of Spider-Man figures. For example, like this one. I bought this off on AliExpress. It's a knockoff from a Marvel Legends one, but it still gets the job done. It has a nice sculpt and all that. So ever since I was a kid, obviously, most children have figures and not figures but toys, any kind of toys, whether it be, as Simon Says, Uno cards. You can also have trading cards. For example, Penguin Z. He's one of the most popular YouTubers of all time, and he still collects YouTube cards. Excuse me, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think that's what they're called, and Pokemon ones, just like Logan Paul. So I don't think there's a age limitation, and this phrase is not being used that often. Let me tell you, there shouldn't be an age limitation to things that usually only children love and play. For example, like even Fortnite. I mean, it's completely fine if an adults like that game. So yeah, even though it's specifically meant for audiences who are way younger than the mainstream media's users, like most YouTubers are adults and stuff. I don't think we should be looking at them in the wrong way, and I don't think it should rub us in the wrong way. We should definitely try our best to make them feel like this is normal, this is fine. It's not like they're committing a crime. It's not like they are insulting people for no reason, or they're hurting themselves like they're freaky eater that just loves to eat raw meats in that one series called Only Human, which was freaking messed up and disgusting. Or it's not like they are chain smokers and you should keep them away from smoking because it's unhealthy for them. No, this is just a normal adult that just loves to play with action figures and figures in general, or maybe he just loves to collect amiibos, for example, for Nintendo games. And I wouldn't mind seeing an adult, even in public, having amiibos and just freaking playing with them on the grass, for example. For example, that would seem actually pretty normal if he was playing with his own child, for example, in his son and his daughter. We wouldn't look at them the wrong way, but as soon as we see him alone with those figures, we would think that he's a social outcast. We would think he's an unsocial individual who's not contributing to society. He is an all-time loser, that he's never going to have friends and all that. He's never going to get laid. Who the heck are you? I mean, are you even an adult? Your brain is probably has stopped processing and still thinks that it's a child. That's, for example, we would insult them in those strange and harsh ways, even though I think that there's nothing wrong with playing action figures. Heck, even I do it from time to time. I think action figures are great fidget toys. I actually love to have one of them in my hands, for example, and while I'm watching a series, I love to pose them around and stuff. Because for one reason, they look pretty amazing, like the sculpture and all that. In fact, this is the first time we ever got Bantan figures where the articulation was actually not that horseshoe. For example, the articulation in the first series' figures were horrendous. They could only move their arms up, down, and their legs up, down, maybe even have bends on the hinges from the arms down, but they were never able to move outward like this, or have wrist bending or wrist rotation. So action figures have actually entered a modern age. The reason why we buy action figures is to support the actual show and the merchandise. Not to just support them, but we actually also want to have a physical form of that figure that we love to watch and play as in the actual mainstream media. That is probably in a video game form or in a YouTube video form. I mean, I even saw a figure of the angry video game nerd, probably just a fan-made one, made by a fan, but it still looks pretty dope, and I would love to have that actually. I wouldn't pay for it any more than $20, but hey, why not? I mean, it looks pretty amazing. So if that was sold in my nearby store, then why not? I would even freaking take a look at it and embrace it and just stare at it. I actually love to, for example, explore these figures and try to find out exactly how many points of articulations they have. It's interesting to me. It's more interesting than rocket science to me, you know? Whatever rubs your boat, I guess. It's different for everyone. Maybe this is just me. But I've actually had a lot of people outcasting me just because I actually enjoy playing with action figures even at my age. And I can see from where they're coming from. I mean, like I said, even I would look at people kind of strangely if I saw them play with action figures, like for example, like this one. By the way, doesn't this look more like a freaking figure of Swords and Sandals 2? Do you guys know that game, that old Flash game? Yeah, like I said, it really also seems pretty weird to me. But after getting to know them way better, and if I actually know who they are, then definitely it would not rub me in the wrong way. And I would try to sympathize with them, even though this is nothing to sympathize for. So basically just go in their mind and think outside of the box. And the outside of the box is actually the brain of that opposite individual in front of you who is actually playing with figures. So I would actually try to humanize with him and not think of him as an outcast. I even have cousins, I think 2 of them, and they both look at me at the very wrong way, and we never even got to be able to understand each other ever since they found out that I was playing with action figures. They just thought, who are you, some kind of loser? Get the heck away from here. You are 18, so behave like someone who is at your age. Now obviously that obviously broke my heart slightly. And obviously I actually also still, yet again, knew from where they were coming from. But I wanted to bring awareness to maybe to the internet or maybe to you guys who are watching this. So this is not actually the worst thing of all time. For example, if they saw me with a fidget spinner, who was one of the most trendiest and most popular fidget toys of all time back in 2018 or 17, I can't remember. I still wouldn't judge you if you still played with fidget spinners. I mean, it would still come off as something weird to me, but you know, I would understand from where you're coming from. Maybe you're the type of guy who likes to play with figures. Maybe you only bought them because you love to just stare at them and have them standing at in your wardrobe or at your work desk, for example, as a decoration. Maybe you just use them as fidget toys. For example, you love to pose them around and give them different poses. For example, walking, running, or punching poses. it's your imagination. You can do whatever the heck you want. And that's the beauty of those action figures. They're basically small human beings who are not alive, but you have fully control over them. That idea alone is kind of amazing to me. Like, it's fascinating. And the future of action figures are actually pretty amazing. Like, I can't wait to see what else they're going to have. They're probably going to have the best point of articulations by not even have to invest in them that much, because the more a figure has articulation, the more investier it gets and pricier it gets. But in the future, I'm pretty sure that's going to change. And if not, then I would gladly accept action figures who have even better articulation. For example, 5 points of articulations in just one arm. That may be overdone, but we never know what to expect unless we actually hold it in our hands and try. Kind of like sushi, you've never tried it and don't know how it tastes, so you can't judge it and say that it's something horrible or bad without even tasting it once. So it differentiates from people to people, and I think that people shouldn't be that misjudging, kind of like how they judge a book by its cover or something like that. Or and since this is the elephant in the room, you still shouldn't address it, because that may rub off the guys who actually play with action figures the wrong way, or guys who loves to collect statues. For example, one guy who loves to collect anime statues and just makes a living out of it by making videos of it on YouTube. So props to him. I mean, that's just something that he likes enjoying. Maybe he even plays with those statues off camera. If he probably said. If he actually confessed that he actually plays with statues on camera, that would probably ruin his reputation, even though it shouldn't, because this is not something like a crime or something that should offend people. It's just adult playing with figures. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Kind of like Lego. I mean, it makes more sense for an adult to play Lego nowadays than to play with a big figure. And now that really makes absolutely no sense to me, just because Lego actually has a brand name and is the most popular toy media that's out there, or toy brand that's out there. It still should not be weird to people for them to see someone that is above the age of playing with toys, still playing with action figures and stuff. Anyways, that's just my opinion on it, and I think I'm done with this. See you guys next time.